Hey, everyone out there in internet land, I'm Vinny.
I'm Joe.
Hiya!
Oh, man.
Where did this guy come from?
Everybody.
Detroit. Hello.
Fresh from Detroit.
Hello, dum-dum.
Our old buddy
All right.
Jan's in town.
Yep,
I
James
don't know where he
Shook is
came
here.
from, but he's here. We're going to talk some stuff.
Yep.
Vinny, what are we going to talk about?
Well, Jan, longtime friend of the family, friends of us, neighbors for how long? I don't.
Yep.
Just,
All over 20 years.
oh, good Lord.
Easily.
And
Well over.
yeah, Jan is the long-term solution to friendship. I mean, this is unbelievable. Like how long we've been friends and gamed together, grew up together. Jan is obviously a fan of the retro games like us, and you also do a little bit of modern gaming,
Oh, yeah.
like quite a bit. So what are you playing right now?
Right now, I went little Xbox. I went Xbox One Arkham Knight, and I am on the PS4 MLB The Show 19.
Nice. Joe, you play the show?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because that's an issue, and I know if Nick and my MLB The Show friends are watching, but I don't really play that game. I got a little bit of an issue with the packs. You know, you drop real money on these packs, and it's just fun to open those cards. But you know, you're supposed to use those cards and play the game, and I don't do that. You know, I'll just sit around and be like, oh, let me open the packs, and that's it, and that's just dumb. You know, so I like the game, but whenever I play it, it's too difficult.
And you don't get the bubble gum.
No,
Like,
Oh,
I just get the
bubble gum.
virtual.
Right.
I
That's
just have the
wrong.
virtual card, so it's really stupid to do that, but it's fun. So I'm sure that you play the actual
Right.
baseball game.
Do you pack it?
No, I don't pack it. But I do pack this, though.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Little plug.
What is that? Here we go. Get that on.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Little Kodiak.
We just peeked
there. You
there.
go.
No.
No,
That's great.
I think a lot of the games today, they do, you know, if you want the better power up or outfit, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, spend $10.
Oh, God,
spend
yeah.
20.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
That's a big
I
issue.
fell down that wormhole with the newest Assassin's game because I was
Okay.
just dropping mad money, and well, that's
How much is
the-
and how much was that game? 60?
60, and then I won't tell
Yeah, you
you how
don't
much
have
I
to.
paid for the power ups, but
Gotcha.
you know,
It's addicting because in your mind you're like, that's only $2.
right.
But you do that
Oh, God,
20
yeah.
times, you're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm in more than I paid for the game.
You
so.
could do that with like even renting television shows on Prime and stuff. I mean, I've been in that too, where you should have just bought the season pass.
But the thing
stuff
is,
like
though, is that that's how these video game companies, that's how they're making their money.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what?
Oh,
Yes, it is sort of a ripoff, but you are giving back. You are paying for, you know, they put all them hours,
Yeah.
all them months,
Yeah.
years in
Well, that-
developing these games.
Exactly, and that's why we've been coming back to that for how long? I mean, it's the same thing when we were buying, NES cards.
Right.
Everyone kept that going, and
But
there was
to
a business.
putting a spin on that though. Nowadays, you like your games and you like your DLC, they call it, downloadable
Right.
content.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Back in the
Yep.
day, which obviously we like to talk about, is the Super Nintendo Genesis. Just think if we had that back in the day.
And we didn't
Mario
have
Kart.
that.
Mario Kart comes out.
Yeah.
Okay, I mastered my 12 levels. Now in this day and age, the company's going to put out another 4 tracks for another $10.
Yep.
You're going to be all over that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Where-
be
so,
sweet.
Yeah, it's not a microtransaction, but I see that part of it as good. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
because anyone would have gladly paid more money for more content back in the day. So
Right.
Yeah.
you got to look at it from both ends. But
But let's all admit, the games they made back then are a lot harder than what they make right
oh my
now.
God. Yes.
I mean, how many games can you think of off
Yeah.
the top of your head that
That
were
are-
made out when we were growing up?
that are unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
Unbeatable. Well, look at you right now.
Yeah.
You're finally trying to go through Castlevania 3,
and
and you're boned.
I'm at
Like,
the point where I just can't go any further, and I am playing it on a modern system, so I have the ability to do a save state.
they have that built into
Right. The new
anniversary,
Castlevania collection that I just
Which
put
is
out
cool.
that has them all. So it's
Well, you're not going to be save stating in 1991.
right.
You
So
know.
how if I can't do it now with save state, and I'm not saying I'm a great video game player, but there's more. It's a little bit more easier if you can save state yourself right before a boss, and then you're good
Right.
to go.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Where in the old days, if you lost your lives,
You had to start over.
you're going
from
back.
Scratch.
You know,
Yeah.
so
That's why they rage quit back in the day.
yeah, that's
You're
why a
just
lot of
throwing games
controllers
against the
got
wall,
thrown.
and yep.
I mean, they still get thrown, but
So speaking of back in the day, if you've watched the show before, you know Joe and I, Atari 2600 was kind of the how we both ended up starting into games. Jan, we've established you as our Sega Genesis expert.
Yep, correct.
What were you playing before that?
Well, like you guys, I got Atari 2600 for my birthday back in 1981.
Beautiful.
And before that, I remember being 4 or 5 years old in the 70s, and my mom and dad had Pong.
Oh,
and
just a Pong console.
Just a Pong console.
And how did that have the controllers that came off of it? Oh,
it had the rotary controllers, and I thought that was, at that time, well, back in the 70s, that was just the greatest thing, you know.
You still have it?
No. Come on.
Sure.
Come on now.
Yeah. Pulls it out from underneath the table. There it is.
So, tell us about how you got your Sega Genesis then.
My Sega Genesis. Well, I was served in the U.S. Navy for 2 years. When I came home from my 6-month cruise in the Pacific, I had some money saved up, so I went to the commissary at my naval base and I bought Sega Genesis, 16-bit. I bought Mortal Kombat. I bought, I bought Joe Montana football. And I think I bought Madden as well.
Beautiful.
And then after that, you know, I bought Sonic Spinball, which that was
I played a lot
awesome
of that
game.
on your game, yeah.
But yeah, and I remember I came home for New Year's that year, and I remember my parents threw a New Year's Eve party, and Joey, your parents were there, and Joey was there, and we were playing Mortal Kombat up in my mother's bedroom. So
fantastic. Could you ever pull off any of the fatalities?
On
the early, on the Sega? Okay.
Yeah, they were a lot easier and they were more graphic, because I know with with Super Nintendo.
Oh God, yeah. I think with the Super Nintendo, you could unlock it. You had to get to that point,
right?
Whereas Sega's just like, check this out.
Yep. Because I remember Sub-Zero used to pull the head and the vertebrae out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it Sub-Zero?
I'm pretty sure
was Scorpion.
Either or.
Yeah. No, Scorpion used to peel his face off and used to light you on fire. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. We should play some Mortal Kombat at some point. That's endless. What was your favorite Mortal Kombat game of the original 3?
2.
2.
2 was the best.
Hands
2
down.
was the best because you could do the babyality.
Yeah.
Then you had the fatality, and then you had the one where
friendship.
You could uppercut someone into the spike ceiling.
Oh yeah, the reverse pit.
Yep.
Or they had the pit too. Mortal Kombat 2 is probably the best.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 was the best. Mortal Kombat 3, they really were ahead of their time, and that was when you could. It was more of a rotation type thing. It wasn't more this type of fighting. You could sort of.
To me, Mortal Kombat 3 didn't really seem like it had it.
And
like,
you had,
right off the bat,
them stupid robots in there. I'm like, Noob Saibot.
Yeah.
Wow. Good Lord. Where'd that come from?
Wow. All right. So to wrap up kind of your Sega thing, what would be okay, just your favorite game on Sega that you played the living crap out of? You had to pick just one.
There was a baseball game for Sega. What you have
RBI Baseball.
Yep.
You mentioned that, Joe.
World Series?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, World Series Baseball.
There you go.
World Series Baseball at that time, you had the authentic stadiums.
Wow.
Even though you didn't have the actual batters with their pose and their swinging net, but you had the actual stadiums. And you couldn't go wrong with that. I remember using, Yankees, biased. You had Don Mattingly, you had Paul O'Neill.
Their stats were still in there. Right?
Yes, their stats were still
like then their attributes. Well, that was kind of like
Griffey,
yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, and I
great.
don't want to be biased here, but if they didn't have the strike, that would have been the first World Series Yankees would have won that year.
That
because
game
they
was
had a
94
killer.
Then?
Yes,
okay.
94.
Yeah, wow.
Because they had a killer rotation. You had Jimmy Key, David Cohn. You had Paul O'Neill. You had all that, and they were killing it.
But since you brought it up, they did eventually end that strike, and I think the Yankees did make the playoffs that year.
Yeah, but they lost. Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
Oh, you sack of shit.
Wait. Not only after going up 2-0, They lost the next 3.
Oh, to the Mariners. You
the
piece
only
of
time
shit.
I was ever
Of course
happy.
he's going to nail you on that.
Yeah,
Right,
you
right.
set
It's the
yourself up.
Mariners.
Yeah, I did. You
Wow.
had Tino.
You need a time machine now.
A-Rod.
You got to go back on that.
Jay
Oh,
Buhner.
sorry.
JP. Oh, jeez, Jay Buhner.
Oh God, yeah. Well, the
But
Yankees
no,
passed
that's
up on
cool.
him.
That game was good. I
Well,
mean,
let's turn attention to you. What made you a Mariners fan? Because you came up a Yankees
Yeah,
fan.
well,
what made you a Bears fan?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you bump your head?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
they drop you when you were born?
So, do you know why I picked the Bears?
Why?
Now we'll talk a little about this maybe later.
Okay.
Tech Mobile.
All right.
I always picked the Bears in that game.
why?
Yeah.
I think
why?
I liked the logo.
Yeah.
Like I was just looking at the helmet.
And
Yeah, that was
the
it.
C?
Yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
it?
For some
Was it
reason,
black and orange?
For some reason, I was just drawn to that.
It was
And
actually navy blue and orange.
Mariners, I picked it because I was getting into baseball and Griffey was the thing. He was
Well,
the
yeah.
kid.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? Like
Your brother had the thing for that for Griffey baseball.
that was a fucking great game.
That was
It
a great game.
Yeah, that game was the one that we again didn't. It wasn't a licensed game, so it was all the players were modeled after the real guys. And,
Yeah.
and you know this, and I'm sure you remember. Again, before the days of game updates and roster updates, is we used to go and put the real names for those players in.
Yep.
Because they allowed you to change the name, probably for that reason, to make it all name.
You
But
did
that took.
Yeah, you did
weeks
that for
to go
every
through it.
Yeah.
And we would do it for even the teams we weren't using, just so when you went into the stats, I
You
want to
saw
see
the play. Yeah.
you're playing your
You're
season.
playing the season, yeah.
Oh, and I'm leading the league in home runs. You wanted those other teams to show their real names, and
Yeah.
who has time for that nowadays? But that's how crazy we were with the Griffey game.
Yeah.
But I could say we could do a whole episode about video game baseball.
Oh, boy.
You know, we
There
weren't
we
gonna.
go.
You know,
Griffey's probably the best one.
You brought us here, Jan.
Okay, I
You
brought you
brought
here.
us here. Here he is,
John,
the man right there. Get out of here.
No,
Look
he
at-
wasn't John.
look at it's right there. It says, "Oh, I didn't see the ILR part. I saw a K after the end."
Get out of here. You're out of your mind.
Nah, he's a good.
But you
ball
know
player.
what? I will say is
He's the
Junior
man.
had the purest swing I ever seen in a home run
Absolutely.
hitter ever.
Pure swing with no ring. That's
Right.
what I
Hey,
always say.
you know what?
Oh, damn.
That's good. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. But no, I mean the only thing I want to bring up is the going back to the Sega talk is Jan again, like we said, was the Sega guy. We didn't have Sega Genesis. We had the Super Nintendos, so the sleepovers were big. I know it's weird to think back when you're in your older age that sleepovers with other dudes were
Right.
fun, but
Gay.
yeah, I mean
But they weren't.
both of us were very similar in that we both had paper routes. We both would sleep over,
Oh,
be
geez,
like, oh, okay, we're gonna get our snacks, we're gonna get our games from the rental shop. We're gonna bring it home on a Friday night. We're gonna stay up all night and play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both chewed Kodiak.
Yeah.
So that was our Friday nights.
That weekend magic. Yeah.
Yeah, the Friday nights were hit the video shop first, come home, hit the games,
Oh, and
stay
then
up till 2 or 3 in the morning.
we can't forget Hunan, huh?
Yeah.
We can't
Yeah,
forget that.
Chinese food. We were big pigs, and that's probably why we gained a bit of weight
Right,
after high
right.
school. But
Oh, man.
hey, it was fun, and I just remember all the different types of games that we would play, and a lot of them came from those rental stores. And that goes back to another
Right.
episode that we had where
Uptown Video.
nothing beats walking in and looking at what am I going to
No.
play tonight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And since we plugged the Hoonan House, we should end here and plug. You took me for my bachelor party out to Michigan where Jan lives,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and you guys secretly took me to a place called Pinball Pete's,
Pete's.
Hell yeah.
which is unbelievable.
which is in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and also in Lansing, Michigan. There's two
Okay.
locations.
There you go.
Both are on campus, or no. The first Pinball Pete's in Ann Arbor is in the University of Michigan campus,
Yes.
but
Yep.
Pinball Pete's up in Lansing is outside of Michigan State University.
Okay.
Yeah, that was cool.
If
That
you're
was really
anywhere near those areas and watching this now, go there and tell them that we told you to go there.
Right.
And they will give you nothing.
Yeah, after
They will
say,
give you not a goddamn thing.
We get a T-shirt. They're really cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like
Cool
I was
T-shirts.
playing the Punch Out arcade game there.
Yes.
I was playing Frogger.
Mm-hmm.
Now they had new stuff too, and obviously, guess what? They had some pinball. But
Pinball Pete said pinball?
no, they were out, and Pete wasn't there either.
Gotcha.
All right, so I think we should wrap there and maybe do a couple other ones. But yeah, so you guys have a good weekend and treat each other well.